isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That is a big body. That's like Calvin Johnson
Mm.
type right there. Um, I mean, as I'm looking at the picks from yesterday, there are a couple surprises, man. I'm surprised two tight ends went in the top 15.
Mm.
Um, but Cam Ward going number one, I don't think that was a surprise to anyone.
Yeah.
Um, how do you think Cam Ward's going to play out in Tennessee, man? Because they haven't had they haven't had a quarterback since Steve McNair. So
Aaron
hopefully,
McNair, baby. The
I mean, I liked Tannehill, but he
he
was
was what he
kind of
was.
a road guy.
Mm. With Cam Ward, I went into this. I don't remember if it was on stream, off stream. All quarterbacks to me, they have at least one superpower, and his is his ability to play make. His ability to now. I think the Patrick Mahomes comparisons are a little like it's hesitant for me because when you're comparing, someone who hasn't even taken one NFL snap to arguably the best quarterback ever, or
Yeah,
whatever player at that position, it's like, whoa, can we pump the brakes and let him get his toes wet? I think his upside, he shows no fear and all confidence on the field. His ability to threaten the defense with just his willingness to throw the ball down the field. He has a good arm. It is a winnable division. However good you think Houston is or is not, I don't expect them to contend for the division this year because it's not often you get a CJ Stroud effect where you draft a quarterback and he comes in just immediately ready to go.
right.
But to answer the original point, I think he'll be a solid player with the upside of being, like a top 8 quarterback in the league because we were looking at it and I'm sure we'll get into it more like for Shador Sanders to not get drafted last night. What teams like need a quarterback? There's
Yeah.
not many.
I mean, you look throughout the league, and most teams have their franchise quarterbacks. You may look at the Giants and Jets, maybe
Mm-hmm.
because they're on like maybe 1 year deals, right, or short deals with Fields and Russell Wilson and however many fucking quarterbacks the Giants have. Um,
Right.
you look at your Steelers.
Mm.
Your Steelers are looking for a quarterback. I mean, who really else is really looking?
It.
The Raiders, maybe. Um,
I was gonna say the thing with the
yeah,
Raiders though, it's like you give Geno Smith, I think it was 120 mil. So it's like either you have your makeshift quarterback for now that
mm,
is feasible, or you have money tied up in somebody. I thought there was a
right,
chance. The Saints take a quarterback with Derek Carr's shoulder injury,
yeah,
but they still have assets being. They're still paying him, and
right,
like before like the NFL offseason, they could have reworked his deal or they could have cut him or whatever the case may be, and they kept him. So that's to continuing resources in a salary cap league to the most important position on the field.
who's Seattle's quarterback right now?
Seattle signed Sam Darnold.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right, yeah.
so
I mean,
the whole thing is just interesting to me because I was talking to my dad a couple years ago, and I think I just told you this. It's like I
yeah,
asked him because once again he's more seasoned in life than me, so I was like,
right,
hey, and like, do you think in a couple of years that there might just be a time in which teams just don't need a quarterback? And he was like, no, all teams there'll still be 3-4 teams a year that just need a quarterback, and I'm like,
yeah,
when I was doing my mock draft, if Shador didn't go 3 to the Giants, it's like who really needs one other than like
right,
us, and even then we have Mason Rudolph, who I understand what he is. It's not like, oh, Mason Rudolph's gonna march us to the Super Bowl. No, I understand what he is. He is a slightly above average quarterback when you surround him with weapons and has a running
right.
game and things like that. Now it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in day 2 because, and I'm sure we can just jump into the second pick. The Jags gave up a shit ton, and I
Yeah,
mean,
so I saw your tweet about it last night. What exactly did they move?
What they
Where
trade?
were they,
They
and
were
what did they?
5.
Okay, they were at
They were
5.
5,
Obviously,
and
we're getting
they
Travis Hunter
traded.
at 5.
Yeah, obviously he was gonna go to Jags. Let me double check because I know they gave up their second round pick today and next
Okay.
year's first round pick. Let me get the whole. In a.
So yeah, so Cleveland will end up having. It looks like they had the 5th pick.
Mm,
Um, did they have one in the 20s or no? Did I just no?
no,
They did not.
here we go. I
So
got it. So
they have
continue.
essentially 3 picks in the top 36 right
Yeah,
now.
which is you're really loading up. So the whole trade here, Jacksonville got the number 2 pick,
Okay.
a fourth round pick, 104th overall, and then a 6th round pick. Day
All right.
threes. Browns got the number 5th pick, which turned into Mason Graham, who's going to be a killer. Their second round pick, a 4th round pick this year, and then Jacksonville's first round pick next year.
Okay.
So
So
you're
they got they basically have got a second round or swap second rounds. Did
no,
Jacksonville get no? So they got an additional second round and next year's first
which is
because they swapped the picks.
right,
So
and it's an early second round
that's a
pick,
lot to
so
move up 3 spots.
it's a it's a it's a real lot to move up 3 spots considering the fact that Jacksonville's a young organization top to bottom with their GM and their head coach, and they don't really know what like the value of not the value of their team is, but they don't really know their team. Like, I like Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if he's going to be great. He's already had injury problems. Like, I could easily
Mhm.
see them not bottoming out again next year because you don't have your own pick, so there's no point to. But this could
Hasn't dude
easily
had like 5
say what?
different head coaches? Hasn't dude had like 5 different head coaches?
He had Urban Meyer, then he had Dougie
Doug
P,
Peterson.
and
Yeah.
I think Liam Cohen's his third. Yeah, so it's just like the short term turnaround for someone who you're gambling your future because it could easily be another another 5-6 win team next year.
Right.
So that's another top 6 pick that you're not gonna have. Now once again, us
That's
all
a
of
good point.
all of that will be moot if Travis Hunter's excellent.
Yeah. So my question is
Mm,
what percentage of the time is he going to be on the field as far as both ways? Like, there was, the whole talk is if he was going to play cornerback or receiver. People thought he was going to play cornerback over receiver, but
mm,
he says he wants to play both.
yeah.
Um, but that doesn't mean you have to be on the field 100% of the time. I wonder how
Mm,
many snaps he's going to take on the offensive side of the field and the defensive side of the field, because Jacksonville, as we all know, I think if it was up to them, he'd be on the field. He wouldn't even come off for a water break, and they're just gonna run this motherfucker down,
might
and
as well
he's
play
gonna be
special
out of the league
teams.
in 3 years because
Mm,
he's played too much. I think as far as organizational wise, this was probably the worst spot that Travis Hunter could go, except for maybe Cleveland, because I think those 2 franchises will run him into the ground. Other ones will be smart about his playing time. I don't think they will.
right. The thing too, it's like he's a fantastic DB and a really good receiver, but I wonder if Liam Cohen has the wherewithal to say, okay, Travis, you're a really, really good DB. We're going to have packages for you to be a
Yeah,
receiver. Sometimes you're going to be in the slot, but for the notion that he was going to come in and be number 1 corner and then a number 1 receiver. It's like, okay, if they play Miami, you're not being guarded by Jalen Ramsey because Jalen would try and punk you because that's kind of just
yeah,
it's a rookie thing, and then
right.
they score and then you guys march on the field, kick a field goal, and then the very next possession, all right, go guard Tyreek Hill. Like
Right.
that's just not feasible.
No, not at all. And even Dion didn't play much offense, and he was a two-way player. Charles Woodson was a two-way player in college, but
Mm,
he didn't play much offense, in college either. But he didn't play any offense in the NFL.
right.
Dion was there for different packages and stuff, but yeah, there's no way that he can play more than,
full time both ways.
50% of the snaps, and if, I just had read something right before we went on that Jacksonville was looking for a number one quarterback or a cornerback and a number two receiver, and if they think they got it all
There,
in one guy,
yeah.
there's no fucking way.
The it it once again, it's really tough because I think they gave up a lot to move up 3 spots. But once again, the trade or whatever the case may be, whatever you give up, it does not matter if the guy hits.
Right. Yeah,
Because
that's true.
yeah,
Or if Cleveland doesn't hit, like, I mean, you could get all these draft picks and pick a bunch of Jamarcus Russells. Like, who knows? Like,
right.
um, but I find it very hard to believe that Travis Hunter is going to be on the field, 90% of the time.
Yeah, it's just really interesting because he's one of the more polarizing, unique draft prospects we've seen. Because
Right.
no one's come out of college that genuinely played both ways. Because like
Hmm.
Charles Woodson did it before my time, but he didn't do it to the level of Travis. Like
Oh,
Travis
no,
is,
not at all.
yeah, Travis was legit wide receiver 1/2 between him and
Yeah.
Jimmy Horn, and then he was cornerback 1.
I mean, honestly, he should just play wherever he's going to get paid. Like, if corners get paid more or receivers get paid more, just play that position, man. You don't need to play the other one.
Yeah, that
Jacksonville's gonna run him into the ground, dude. They're gonna jackhammer him
that's what I
into the
think.
freaking ground, trying to break up their foundation.
And
Um.
it really sucks because he looks off the field like just a nice kid.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
looks awesome.
But I think when I saw that, man, I was like, the two teams that traded between the two, I was like, those are the worst two fucking
I mean,
organizations that you could go to. And I'm saying not only are they run poorly, like
mhm,
historically, but I can see both of those teams just running him into the ground, like not knowing what to do with him. Like, oh, we have this talent that can do everything. Let's just use it, and
mhm.
we're gonna use our brand new Porsche to deliver Uber Eats until we fucking
Until the
use all
wheels
the
fall
mileage
off.
up. We spent $100,000 on this car that now, after 2 years of door dashing,
Mhm.
is run to the ground and lost all its value. So I don't know, man. I would be a little concerned going to Jacksonville. But,
Mm.
there's no state tax in Florida, so
And
live it up.
would you rather want to live in Jacksonville or fucking Cleveland, dude?
Well, yeah, man. We know people from Ohio, and dude, I don't want anything to do with Ohio. Let's be from
we,
Michigan, man. We don't talk about those people down south.
wow. Uh, we can move on to the number 3 pick. Abdul Carter. If he's Micah Parsons 2.0, and there's a chance that he is because he's slightly bigger.
Yeah,
His explosiveness and versatility. It's like he like him and Travis were for me like your two automatic blue chippers. Like they're gonna come in, they're gonna start right away. Outside of quarterback like Cam Ward.
yeah.
And I think he's gonna be really productive for New York. I know he's a Phillies. He's like a Eagles fan growing up, and he said before the draft, when I go to New York, I gotta leave all that shit behind.
Oh, so he knew. He knew he was going.
I mean, he had teased on like his Instagram posting like pictures of Lawrence Taylor and stuff like that. So,
Gotcha.
so it's like there's your slight tease now.
So,
Gone.
question.
Yeah,
Like, okay, so Cleveland's originally at number two. They trade back. I mean,
yeah.
they got a hell of a deal. But, I know Carter is going to be teaming up with Kayvon Thibodeau, which,
Mm.
if you both
And
ends,
Brian
it's
Burns.
yeah. But, you know, is there a reason why Cleveland didn't just stay put and not take him to go with Miles Garrett? I mean, they just re-signed Miles Garrett for a huge contract. I mean, you could have had
One of
Miles
I'll
Garrett 1 and 2, right? If that's who you're comparing it to.
I'll give you a little and for the audience, I'll read this text. So me and all of our boys were all talking draft, what's going on, and I said Mason Graham was a great pick for Cleveland for the Cleveland side. I said that I hate because I'm a Steelers fan. I hate he's in my division. My boy said I'm not drafting no D lineman first after I just pay him Miles. He's a D lineman, and I said he got all the help in his bank account, and then he said, "Man, I'm not drafting no other D lineman," which I get it. If it were me, I would have. It's really tough because we saw the blueprint of the Eagles just win the line of scrimmage. If you just win the line of scrimmage, that that will always be the universal key to winning football games. He who wins the line of scrimmage wins about 70% of the games.
Right.
And when you have
they ended up taking Mason Graham, so I guess you're still beefing up that defensive line.
yes,
But
and it's a different spot, interior than edge and stuff like that. It's tough because that would have been a hell of a 1-2 combo.
Right. I just to me, I guess pressure up the middle is good, but to me, especially with mobile quarterbacks, man, I like the edge rushers.
Right.
And I would rather have the pressure come from the outside than the inside. I mean, I know both is important, but if you're concentrating on both ends, your middle is going to open up regardless.
Yeah.
And if you, like you said, if you have a guy you're comparing to the guy that you have, that's his NFL comparison. Then I mean, I know they got a lot from the trade, and they still had a good pick with Mason Graham, but man, that would have been. But Carter and Thibodeau, that should be an interesting one. And you mentioned Brian Burns as well.
Yeah,
their defense coming together,
and they got Dexter Lawrence up the middle.
Yep.
That division, if you don't have an offensive line, it's gonna be hell because you got Philly. You got the Giants. Well, for Dallas, you have Micah Parsons. So he's always going to be a menace.
All you do if you don't have a defensive or an offensive line, all you do is draws and screens. Draws and screens. Let them come in.
Long handoffs. Just
look, man.
Screens and jet passes and all that jazz. Real quick though about Mason.
What movie is that? What is it? Is it Longest Yard where he just tells him to let the fucking guy come in and he fucking body drops him?
Yeah.
Is it Longest Yard?
I think so. Yeah, that is such an all-time underrated football movie. It's awesome.
Or no. It's fucking Remember the Titans. Sunshine is like let him in, let him through, and he fucking comes and.
Yeah,
fucking flips his ass.
One last thing though about Mason Graham before we move on, he's just built for AFC North football. Like
who'd you think, Graham?
Yeah, he's just built for AFC North football.
Yeah, I mean he's a Big Ten guy. They're usually physical. AFC North, as everyone knows, is probably the most physical division in the NFL.
Yeah.
Probably up there with the NFC North, I would think. For some reason,
cold to cold. Yeah,
us guys in the North, we know how to pound it. Maybe because of the weather, but that's Big Ten football, man. Ground and pound.
Ground and pound. Another really interesting pick, and I want your take on it. With Ashton Genty going to Vegas at 6,
It's a very Vegas pick.
It's
very big.
Go ahead, dive into it.
Oh no, man! It's like okay, so as a Lions fan, I don't know if this is a thing anywhere else in the country, but most Lions fans have a secondary team because the Lions have been so bad for so long.
Yeah.
That you need someone that at some point may be in contention, and for some reason, I know this is gonna sound bad, but mine is the Raiders. And the Raiders haven't been good since fucking, I don't know, Rich Gannon.
Shout out to Rich Gannon.
Rich Gannon, who was it? Tim Brown or Troy Brown? One of the Brown brothers. And I know they're not even related, but I don't think they have. Jerry Rice
when he was
at
40.
One point. Charles Woodson, let's go,
Right.
Fucking A.
Right.
Darren McFadden a little later, but
what a player.
But Vegas always does this shit. I mean, Genti is people are saying that he's going to be a generational back. And just look at the dude's thighs, man. Like
His
when
his ability to absorb contact is crazy.
right, and that was like I know Barry Sanders was like more shifty and stuff like that, but that motherfucker was hard to tackle because of his fucking thighs. Like this dude, his thighs are
Mm.
thick. He's got a low center of gravity, man. He's fast. Um, you know, I think the Raiders just need everything. So,
Right.
I'm not sure if a running back at 6 is the smartest thing to do, but
They were
it's fucking Raiders, man. Like, hopefully he's
uh-huh.
better than Darius Hayward Bay or whatever the fuck his name was, but or that one dude that killed his wife or whatever. Didn't they have somebody that like murdered somebody? Ruggs? Didn't Ruggs kill someone?
Yeah,
Right?
Henry Ruggs. Different
Yeah, wasn't he a
position.
Raider?
Different, yeah, but different position.
Well, he was a receiver, and he was a luxury pick in the first round. Like I'm telling you,
Yeah, it
like
was.
they,
The
this is what
with
they do. I know Trenti is better than those two,
the thing
and
with
Jamarcus Russell. I mean, how many guys can you screw up? I thought the Lions were bad at drafting
the
before Brad Holmes. Fucking
the
A.
the thing with Ashton Genty for me, to this is gonna sound bad that I'm against the player. I'm not. I think it's an overpick due to it's such a good running back draft that
Yeah,
you can get 80% of him in the third round. So
yeah.
you're not paying him as much and you're still getting solid production via the pick. That's where when it
This,
comes to like these good GMs, they get good value picks.
yeah, yeah. This reminds me a lot of the Zeke Elliott pick.
Yeah.
Like the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys only had like one off year when they picked Zeke, and so it was like a point where like, okay, we have a good team, and this is gonna be the final piece,
Yeah,
and
that
blah
was
blah
the year
blah.
Romo got hurt. The year before was when
Yeah,
Romo
and
first got
so,
hurt and they were 4 and like 12.
but the Raiders are so far from being
And you're
anything,
and you
especially in that division
I
with
was
Kansas City. You got Denver now, like Denver came out of nowhere last year. Bo Nix, by the way, was my. I mean, Jaden Daniels is fucking awesome, but Bo Nix was my quarterback to come out of that class to be the star. Just he had a great rookie season. I mean, he was right up there with Jaden for rookie of the year,
mhm.
and so um, this just if it was a final piece of the puzzle, yeah, and like you said, like running backs, like there's a guy on the local radio here. His thing is we don't pay running backs. Like he's a Giants fan, and like he was okay with Saquon was like kind of a little bit of a different story, but he's like we don't pay running backs. Running backs are a dime a dozen. Running backs are relief pitchers. Running backs are starting pitchers. They have a shelf life. They don't hit once they hit 30. They're you don't see a lot of them anymore. You can pick up a guy off the street who's just fast. Look at like what's his name? Raheem Mostert or I don't
Yeah.
know.
Who's also a
Whatever his last
Raider?
name.
Who's also a Raider?
Yeah. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Let's just fucking get more running backs. But guys like that you can find
J-
without
Diamonds in the
using
rough. Yeah.
capital. Um, let's see, man. I mean, if he's a generational back and he can stay in the league for 10, 12 years, maybe, as a Raider, but
Mhm.
it's not going to help them win tomorrow. Like, so
Yeah, I don't know
and they don't have, they got rid of Devontae, they got rid of Derek Carr, they got, they have a nice tight end over there that what is it, Brock Bauer.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Brock
and
Bowers, he's ridiculous.
you're getting weapons, but you have no meat. Like you have a lot of toppings, but no
Yeah,
substance.
they've got a lot of high end players like Geno Smith is nice, Max Crosby's awesome, Brock Bowers is fantastic. You got a good left tackle,
Mhm.
and now you have Ashton Genty. It's like, what is your see? My thought philosophy when I'm building a team. Okay, how do I contend with my division, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah,
And it's like you're in a
yeah,
division that's hell.
right. And like I said, you have Kansas City, who's
Super Bowl
been in
every
the Super
year.
Bowl 7 years in a row. You have the Broncos, who not only have like an elite defense now, but now their offense is coming around. And you have I almost said San Diego, but the LA Chargers, who Harbaugh's doing a decent job over there. Actually, at least through his first year there,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to be getting better. They have
Yeah.
one of the top young quarterbacks in the league. And now they have a quarterback guru with Harbaugh, and Harbaugh knows how to build a team through the trenches. So it's this division all of a sudden, and if it was just the Chiefs at the top at one point, now this division is much tougher.
Mm-hmm.
On top of having the Chiefs, like,
Yeah.
so what are you doing? Like,
It.
I and that Genty was probably a guy that was high on a lot of people's lists.
Mm-hmm.
They could have probably pulled off a move like Jacksonville or for like Cleveland by
Yeah, they
moving down.
probably could. Yeah, that was my guess. I mean, I didn't see Genty going past 12, which is Dallas. But once again,
Yeah,
if they could have called, Chicago, there was also rumors that
yeah.
Chicago wanted Genty. So
Yep.
I don't know.
I was hearing Chicago everywhere because Ben Johnson just wants to copy everything that we do, and
I mean, look, he came from
be
there,
the
man.
Lions light, Yeah, fuck him, dude. He wants to go to a division rival. He could have went to the Raiders, but he goes to
He could have went
Chicago
to
to
the
face
Raiders,
us twice a year. He's gonna get his ass whooped by Dan Campbell, the Detroit Lions.
the Detroit Lions. The Jets tackle, not really surprising.
Yeah,
Carolina for me though. With McMillan, I saw some people had him as the number one receiver, some people had him as the fifth receiver. To me, he's a big body, 50-50 ball guy who has really good hands, good body control, former volleyball player, so he knows how to really get it. Hey,
he knows how to bump set spike.
exactly. If you don't know how to spike as a receiver, what more are you? Hey,
Can he at least catch? He's not just swatting the ball around back, is he?
he averaged 18 yards a
He
catch
should
in
play
college.
corner. Huh?
He averaged 18 yards a catch in college.
So did I.
Let me find out. Someone someone pull up the Kaboose's numbers.
Dude, 18.4. No,
Find out.
I actually think for Carolina, I think this is a perfect pick.
I had
Especially
them initially, yeah.
especially if you're gonna go receiver, you're gonna get Bryce Young weapons, but Bryce Young is also still very young.
Hmm.
No pun intended. But with a big receiver, a 50-50 guy like you said, he can kind of, if he does get in trouble, it's a nice bailout. Throw it up to him, make him make a play, and it will allow him, I think it will give Bryce Young a lot better dimension, it'll be a bailout, dude. Like, he needs that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have shit there. I mean, I don't know who they signed as far as receivers or what. But I always get the news, like in the off season, and then like a month later, I'm like, wait, who's on whose team? And then like when season comes, I'm like, wait, they're on there, and then I remember, I'm like, oh yeah, they whatever.
Yeah.
So
As we can
it's not in
move
season.
on.
I'm not paying attention. I'm not playing Madden. I'm not doing anything.
Right. With the Saints drafting, in my opinion, the best tackle in the draft, Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, I thought he was excellent. And one of the things about Derek Carr, since he's been in New Orleans, is his injury history, and you keep him upright. Because you're NFC North guy, the Bears taking Colston Loveland, I was surprised he was the first tight end off the board.
Same. Michigan dude. I'm shocked that they didn't go Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
Especially so you're picking a tight end. It seems like regardless because they picked Loveland.
Right.
So if you have the choice and you're Ben Johnson, the offensive genius, why wouldn't you go to Tyler Warren? He played fucking like every position in college. Like they put him at running back, they put him at receiver, they put him at tight end. Like
in the Wildcat, they put him in quarterback. So the big difference between the two, Warren is exceptional with the ball in his hands. He's a great athlete. The thing with Loveland is he's more of a Travis Kelce frame where you don't have to. Not once again. me complimenting somebody else does not mean that I'm blowing out somebody else's candle. So it's not a
Right.
knock on Tyler Warren, but Colston Loveland, you don't have to scheme him open per se as you will. Not once again, not saying you have to completely 100% scheme Tyler Warren open. However, Colston Loveland just finds space. There were a lot of times, especially last year, with a down year for Michigan, that he would just coast open in zone. He ran good routes, really good footwork, good in the run game, which, coming from Detroit, that's probably what Ben Johnson's going to want to try and do.
But that's Ben Johnson's thing. That's what he does. He schemes people open. Like,
yeah,
I don't understand.
That's the thing
if
with me
Tyler
too. Yeah,
Warren is a straight up better athlete and better with the ball in his hands, that's Ben Johnson's MO. Like, that's what he does. He schemes people open. Look, Jameson Williams could not catch a goddamn ball his first year and a half, but he got him the ball. Like, you get the guy the ball. Like, that's what he does. This is that's why it's so shocking that he would pick him over Warren.
that was my thing too. Is if you're that good of a play designer, just take the better player, because for your scheme and your system, you're gonna get him open. He's more versatile.
And that's not a knock on Loveland. It's just like
it is what it is.
If that is your reason that you have to scheme some guy open, yet you're this offensive genius that literally schemed everyone open in Detroit, like
he invented he invented the fake fumble.
Right.
and,
fake fumble, the fake trip over your own leg.
And do you remember who caught that touchdown?
It was Sam Laporta, I think.
Would you look at that, a tight end?
Oh my God.
The Niners.
Yeah. And plus, I want to just say this too.
Yeah.
Chicago fucked up anyway. You're still not getting offensive line help? Like, what is going on in Chicago? Like, who has to be the quarterback? Who has to get sacked 1,000 fucking times before you get another?
I hate to say it. I hate to say it. It might genuinely take Caleb Williams like breaking a leg before they invest in offensive line.
Because
he was sacked 63 times last year.
They already wasted Fields' career.
Yeah.
To me, they shouldn't have taken Caleb Williams. They should have stuck out with Justin Fields. They had 2 fucking picks in the top 10 that you could have picked the 2 best offensive linemen and still had a great talent in
or
Justin
just
Fields.
Whoever you wanted.
Right, but if you would have taken two of the best offensive linemen in that draft last year, I don't know who they would have been. I would have to look back and see, who panned out to be the. But shit, man, you could have had a beefed up offensive line. You could have still had a very talented quarterback. I know, Chicago fans hated Justin Fields, and Justin Fields hated them, and they hated the coach. Whatever. You fix everything when you start fucking winning.
Hindsight being what it is, or they could have, just traded down twice from the number 1 and got a haul, and got a Caleb Williams King's ransom. To move on. With the 11th pick,
I don't draft guys that paint their fingernails. Sorry.
Hey, man.
Not a quarterback, at least.
You're just not creative.
I'm not woke enough.
I'm not woke enough, you stupid. Mikael Williams was drafted by the Niners. The thing with the Niners for this pick for me, he's got to be good right now. And I think he measurables off the charts, good edge rusher. I think he's gonna walk in and be a day 1 starter because we're about to pay Brock Purdy $150 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
So
is Bosa still out there?
Yeah, both Bosas are.
Okay. So both Bosas are in San Francisco?
Yeah, the Chargers released Joey and he signed with the Niners.
Oh, all right. So you got the Bosa brothers and
Michael Williams, yeah.
Is it Michael Williams? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, it's Michael Williams. Yeah.
All right. I mean,
here
we go.
Dallas did a per se smart pick. They drafted Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama, best guard on the board with Zach Martin's retirement. So it's kind of I thought they would go weapon because Jerry loves the big sexy flash. However, I think it's a nice pick. Kenneth Grant, and you being not a Michigan fan but Michigan knower and liver.
Yeah.
Kenneth Grant gets taken 13th overall to the Miami Dolphins. I think it's a really good pick. I think the combination in especially in college with Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant and Jim Harbaugh was saying that Kenneth Grant is going to go somewhere in the NFL and just continue to be better because he was already
Yeah.
explosive in college. And the fact that Jim, who once again I get it's one of his guys, but he recruited him, all things of that nature, is still giving him praise like, oh, he's only going to get better. I think that's exceptional.
Right.
I think that was a really smart pick.
If I was an NFL GM, I would never draft anyone from Michigan. I hate them. So, I would have picked,
I
you
hate
know,
them.
fuck it.
Whoever.
I would have picked Warren Sapp and see if he could still go. But I'm sure he'll help Miami in some way.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Colts with the Tyler Warren pick.
Mm.
Again, I'm surprised that he didn't go number 10. You know, it's I guess another weapon for Anthony Richardson, who may or may not be their franchise quarterback. Question marks,
Yeah.
That dude, man, they didn't he get picked like number 5 overall?
Yeah. Which is kind of nuts because he's completing like sub 60% of his passes.
I mean, oh man, like it almost reminds me of like a Josh Rosen like
It,
scenario where you're like, oh shit, like we just fucked up and picked the wrong guy.
right.
Next year, another quarterback. Because then did they bring in somebody?
Daniel
They
Jones. They brought in Daniel Jones.
Gotcha, Danny Dimes. I mean, everyone's favorite.
Former
10-cent
New York
quarterback.
10-cent quarterback.
But I mean, Danny Dimes could be the fucking starter, dude. Like I'm saying, like Anthony Richardson, like, dude. So Anthony Richardson played what, like 6 games or something his first season, right? His rookie year, he got hurt, right?
Yeah, something like that. And then he was hurt last year.
Yeah, and so last year I remember everyone was big on the Colts. They're like, man, weak division. Anthony Richardson's gonna take a step up. I'm like, bro has only played 6 fucking games, dude. And like, I think he was only like 500 or less when he played those 6 games. I'm like, what makes you think he's just going to step in and be the Jaden Daniels and be almost, I mean, he's basically a rookie last year too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way that it, like, I pounded that under wins total last year, and I think it's pretty smart.
I was gonna say, with a ceiling perspective, like big kid, mobile, strong, huge arm. Cause like he made a pass that might have been like week 3 to Alec Pierce, where he's like rolling left, falling back off his back foot, and just hucks it 7 yards on the field. Well, I
made that pass yesterday, but no one fucking saw it.
The cameras weren't on.
I'm not very impressed.
The cameras weren't on.
So it's their fault, man.
I
was trying to get the highlight tape for day 2.
Hey, man.
Maybe day 3.
Maybe day 3.
Maybe.
So last night I went out to watch the draft, and when the Falcons drafted Jalen Walker, the whole place exploded. They were happy. I didn't think he'd be here. I think it's an awesome pick for a team that needs defense. Defense. It's a UGA guy, so they know him and things like that. Yeah.
What I've learned over the last couple years is you pick guys from Georgia. Defense.
Dude, it's the recipe.
I mean, the Eagles might as well be called the Philadelphia Bulldogs or the Philadelphia University of Georgia.
Right.
But yeah, they have big, strong motherfuckers on the line. Defensive line. Their guys are always fucking massive. Their linebackers are always fast. Their corners are always big and able to cover. Like, you just pick guys from Georgia. Like,
it just happens.
It's a formula, man. It's a formula. They're basically NFL light down there. I think they overtook Bama as far as being NFL light. And
yeah,
I don't know the guy. Like I said, like, you're gonna have to carry most of the show. I can bring some entertainment factors in this, but that's all I know is you pick defense from Georgia.
It just works. It just, I mean, once again, the Philadelphia Bulldogs just won the Super Bowl. The Cardinals took Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. Big, strong defensive tackle. Now, they did bring back Calais Campbell 1 year to maybe that be like his farewell thing, because he was drafted there, and it's great that they picked him up. Not it's great that they picked up Calais for. He didn't pick him up for Walter Nolan, but that's another guy who's been in the league for damn near 20 years. I was about to say years and mentor. Yeah, yours.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they literally they had this plan, like we're gonna draft a D tackle, we're gonna sign him, and literally on the phone talking to him like, hey, we're drafting a D tackle. That's gonna be your little brother. That's gonna be your child. You do not leave anywhere without him. This coming up year,
and we know Calais is a super nice guy on and off the field. Once again, he's been in the league for I don't know, 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
Well, once again, probably not that long, but he's been a long ass time. The pick that kind of it didn't trigger me because they're in my division, but the Bengals drafted Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, not a production pick. I think he had 4.5 sacks his entire college career at Texas A&M. However, his measurables off the chart. 6'5", fast, great get off the edge, and for a team that might lose the NFL sack leader in Trey Hendrickson if they can't, get a deal done, it's just a position of need. I did not want them to go Will Johnson, who surprisingly didn't even get took yesterday.
Yeah. So, the Bengals lost, no, never mind. I was going to say Zadarius Smith, but he was a Brown, right?
Yeah, he was a Brown. Before
Stupid Ohio. Why does Ohio have 2 teams, by the way?
They shouldn't even have one.
Why?
They shouldn't even have one. Seattle taking a interior offensive lineman from North Dakota State. They've needed interior offensive line help for the past 3 years, it seems. This was a surprise.
They took someone from North Dakota State. Is this dude any good?
Yeah, he's solid. He's good. Yeah, he's good.
Okay, who was the quarterback that came out of there? Carson Wentz? Didn't he come out of North Carolina or North Dakota?
I don't know what random ass school Carson Wentz came from.
Drafted? Why? Pete Carroll leaves and you forget how to draft? Again, go to Georgia. Go to North Dakota State.
He's a good pick.
I don't know, man. It's not a knock on this dude, but I feel like they might be
better. Gray Zabel, solid future. I was about to say future Hall of Fame guard getting shit on by Bobby Kaboose.
No, I'm just saying, like I said,
I get you. It's not a blue chip. It's not a blue chip.
First round pick.
Yeah.
First round pick in your offensive lineman, you would think that so my thing is if you want to be a quarterback in the NFL, you go to a small school in a good division, a good conference. That means you go to fucking Vanderbilt, go to Purdue,
Texas
go
Tech.
to a spot.
Well, not Texas Tech because you can just aerate it out.
Play against the top competition in college, and you can show out and be like, yeah, I'm the fucking man. You don't go, that there's a reason why a lot of Alabama quarterbacks and stuff don't pan out in the NFL. That, or at least that's my take.
Yeah.
But with the linemen, I wouldn't pick a lineman from a small school. I'm just saying, why didn't this guy go somewhere bigger?
I understand. And speaking of bigger, he is
lineman from Army where they're 150 pounds.
Speaking of bigger, he is a big body. He 6'6", 312 pounds for the interior lineman that was drafted to Seattle. Emeka Egbuka was a surprise for me with the Bucs at 19. I thought because their roster doesn't really have a lot of holes. I thought they would just go whether it be in your front four, maybe an edge guy, maybe James Pierce Jr. or Jahad Campbell, and they went with Emeka Egbuka. So you're telling me you have Mike Evans, you re-signed Chris Godwin to a team-friendly deal. You have the McMillan kid that you took last year in the second round or third round, and now you have Emeka Egbuka. And you have Bucky Irving that you drafted last year as running back.
So you're getting to a point where you're getting to the Seattle Seahawks point where
you have too much talent but not enough spots on the field.
Yes.
And you lose Liam Cohen, who was a fantastic offensive coordinator last year. I think I love the player. The pick was he's going to be so quarterback friendly, but once again, maybe with Mike Evans getting older and Chris Godwin getting older, maybe Chris Godwin doesn't play out the entirety of the contract that they just gave him.
He went to fucking wide receiver university. So
Dude,
um,
those
it's unreal.
fuckers pumped them out. I think the wide receiver coach is Brian Hartline, believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
mean, every year, man, that they have at least one first round receiver.
and next year next year Jeremiah Smith, or the year after, will be a top 3 pick. Um,
Yeah.
the Denver Broncos are trying to replicate the no fly zone 2.0, and they take I I butcher his name every time I try and
Gade?
say it. Huh?
Gade?
Sure. The cornerback.
That's how else do you pronounce it? How else would you pronounce his first name? It's
I
Jade.
I don't know. Damn it. Barron out of
Like,
Texas.
it's very simple.
I
It's
think
Jade. It's 2 syllables, dude. It's very easy. Just pronounce it.
do the claps with syllables. Do the claps with syllables. Jade.
Okay, finally you said it. God damn, it's not that hard.
Thanks, man. Speech impediment, dick. Uh, I'm canceling the boost. Uh, so
You're canceled.
they
You shut the fuck up and I'll do the rest of the draft.
so they took Barron out of Texas, who's an awesome cornerback. The value to get him at 20 is what made the pick excellent for me.
Yeah.
It's the
No,
fact. Continue.
Denver is, like I said, beefing up that
They're
defense. Like him and they got him and what's his name, Patrick Surtain
the second, yeah.
June
He's second, yeah.
I wanted Surtain on the Lions so bad.
Big
So
PS2,
bad.
big PS2 fan. And what's also pretty cool, PS2, PlayStation 2. He has a chain.
You weren't even alive when PlayStation 2 came out.
Shut up. He has a chain, and it's a PlayStation 2 controller that he wears during the games. It's pretty cool.
You even know what a PlayStation 2 controller looks like?
Shut the fuck up. So,
I'm just saying, dude. Like,
that was my first console, man.
you didn't even know what 9/11 was until I explained it to you. Or
Yeah.
Y2K, how we had to rebuild the world from the ground up. You should be thanking everyone that was pre your
2000.
existence, because you wouldn't have a world to come into without us rebuilding the Y2K and killing the Y2K bug
Yeah.
with spears. We had to spear that motherfucker down. That thing was like 200 feet, big, and all the people are just spearing it.
Oh yeah.
We took down the Y2K bug and saved the world.
I'm gonna clip your hand motions and put her on Twitter. So don't cross the hoss.
Don't cross the
So
hoss.
my Pittsburgh Steelers, with the maybe shock of the draft that we didn't take a quarterback. We took Derek Harmon, D tackle out of Oregon. I'm kind of torn because I wanted Jackson Dart, who his name's about to come up. However, it's a position of need. Cam Hayward's getting up there in age. Really, he's a space eater at your nose tech spot. He is a player that will be a immediate plug and play. And when you turn on the tape, he jumps off the screen.
I mean, he also helps out. He also helps out your best player. On defense, TJ Watt.
Yeah, Mr. Watt, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if you can do something, I know you wanted the quarterback, but if you can do something that,
unless we get Aaron Rodgers,
helps out your best Aaron Rodgers, get the fuck out of here. If you can grab somebody that helps out your best player, to become better, your team just got better. Like,
that's my thought process on it too. For me, it was also hard to pass up a cornerback like Will Johnson, like him and Joey Porter Jr. on opposite sides. That would have been nice. However, I do like the pick, and this just proves that Derrick Henry won't go for 200 yards on us in a playoff game again.
Yeah.
Because on God, that shit pissed me off. This next pick's kind of a Jim Harbaugh pick. Amarian Hampton from North Carolina.
How many running backs do the Chargers have? Like
20? They signed Najee Harris. They drafted him. I don't know if J.K. Dobbins is a free agent or not. I think he is. So yeah, those are your two backs.
5 running backs on the roster last year. Like
Jim uses all of them.
I mean, what? Like you have a 10-play drive and each person gets a carry? What the fuck are we doing in Charger Land?
If it
you have no other need but a running back?
If it works, it works.
Apparently, have they won a Super Bowl? Did they make the playoffs last year? They made the playoffs last year, right? Okay, at least they made the playoffs last year. But
Justin Herbert, it's funny because Justin,
this doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all.
I mean, it's another quote unquote weapon, but I
have 17 running backs, but I need number 18.
Hey man, number 18. Number 18 is the one that puts them over the top.
But if you need a running back, you already said this is a deep running back class.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing that's my biggest thing. Now once again, it's not a knock on the players, it's a value pick. Why would I go get a running back here when I can get one in the third round that's 70% of him? Now granted, skill sets, certain are some better than others, XYZ, all that jazz. We could go on for hours.
And I got a problem with the next pick too. Doesn't Green Bay have A, the youngest team in the league, and B, don't they have a fucking great young receiving core already? Why are they picking another receiver?
Great. I was never a big buyer into the Packers receiving core. Like, yeah, they're young, but like there's no juice here. Like, it's what? Donovan Wicks?
And that other guy, and that other guy.
Yeah, Christian Watson, who I think tore his ACL.
Yeah. He's super fast. Like, one of them's super fucking fast.
They just receive. And I might be wrong, but I think he ran the fastest 40 as well. Which once again, fast guy. Well, but again, to me, really good receiver who I mean, if he can deal with the cold, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
The Vikings drafted surprise interior offensive lineman out of Ohio State, Donovan Jackson. When you look at how their playoff game ended, Jesus Christ, was Sam Darnold just under? He snapped the ball. It's like that Family Guy clip where Stewie gets the ball on the kickoff and nobody blocked, and he just gets fucking creamed every play. So I mean,
when Peter's playing against the New England Patriots as like the London City Nannies or whatever the hell they're fucking, and they just keep fucking sagging them. Especially with JJ. I'm curious if an Ohio State guy's gonna block for a Michigan quarterback, but we'll see. Maybe JJ's gonna get the Paul Crew treatment, and they're just gonna let him go because he sold his soul to the warden.
That'd be so funny.
Now
the next pick was
they need to sign Nelly off the streets. I heard he's a good running back.
Now the Houston Texans did have the 25th pick in the draft. However, they traded with the New York Giants. The Giants got the 25th pick. The Texans got the Giants' second round pick, so it's essentially a late first round pick, even though it's super early in the second. Yeah. They got a second round pick this year, number 34 overall. They got their third round pick, 99 overall, and then next year's third round pick, and get their hopeful quarterback of the future, Jackson Dart, which is really weird because after Jackson Dart was drafted, it came out that Brian Daboll said Russell Wilson's going to be the starter. So you just took another so you took a quarterback you traded up, gave up assets. Yeah. Let's go get a fourth quarterback to put on the roster who might not even see the field this year. Because then you have Jameis, unless you're going to cut him because he's on a 1-year deal. Same with Russ.
Right. Or trade him, I guess. Trade him at the deadline.
And you still got Tommy Cutlets.
But yeah, I mean,
Tommy DeVito, man.
Yeah, fucking mob boss. Anyway, how old is Russ?
I don't know. I think he's 33.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking either 33 to 35. And I thought.
Oh fuck! I was doing Russ some justice. He's 36.
Oh, Russell's 36?
Russell is 36 years old, born on November 29th, 1988.
Okay, so if he's 36, they signed him to a 1-year deal?
I think it was a 1+1. I think it was a 1 with like a team option. But once again, I'll double check while you go on your tangent.
Right, so you have a guy for at least maybe 2 more years. And then they could possibly extend him. I don't think he'll reach 40 in the league.
1
I
year,
just
10
don't,
million. 1 year, 10.5 mil with
unless
8
he
guaranteed.
starts like really
Unless fully
having,
guaranteed.
going back to the Seattle days. Because even last year he had a nice season for Pittsburgh, but I think Fields should have been the starter the entire year.
Bingo.
Um, but you have Russ
Mm-hmm.
for this year. You have Jameson or Jameis, whatever the fuck, Jameis Winston stealing crab legs. You have him for a year. You have Cutlets fucking, making sandwiches and running the mob ties in the Bronx and Brooklyn and shit. Um, Now you're bringing in a fourth quarterback who is obviously going to sit because you're not starting him over Russ or probably Jameis. Um, and now you're trying to do the Green Bay Packer thing where you sit behind a guy for a couple of years, but you still need game time reps and to, like you said, use
That's the
assets to
biggest
move
thing.
up
Mm-hmm.
to try to get your franchise quarterback. And what I would do if I was the Giants, I would start Dart from day one.
Mm-hmm.
Trade deadline comes, there's injuries. If Dart is healthy, you trade the other two. You get, what you can,
It'll probably be
to
like a
maybe
5th-round pick, but just something.
whatever. And well, your hopes, I guess, are a team that maybe, trade deadline's what, week 9?
Yeah.
You get a team that's maybe hopefully 5-4 better, that their quarterback just went down and they're still in playoff contention, and maybe you can get like a second round pick for one of these guys.
Yeah.
Maybe not next year, but like down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would do, I guess. But like, what are they doing in New York? I mean, what the first pick was great, to go, the defensive lineman, but
Mm-hmm.
this pick kind of doesn't make any sense. And you know, Jackson Dart, is he going to be able to handle New York City and the media there?
And you already know the
Um,
fans are going to be chanting for him the second
right,
anything bad happens, and then that puts more pressure on Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, and it's like, what are we doing again?
right. Because like I thought Pittsburgh last year did an amazing job by getting Fields and Russell Wilson, because I thought they were going to trade one of them. Like, you literally have two quarterbacks that can start in this league.
Mm.
And the Giants kind of have the same thing right now with Russ. People still believe Russ can start. And Jameis, I think Jameis just needs the right situation. I mean, I know he turns the ball over a lot, but he's
He's a damn fun
aggressive. And
watch.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, he puts points on the board. I mean, if you want to outscore someone 45-42, Jameis is your guy. Like,
Right.
and just to bring both guys in and then draft a quarterback, it would have been like if the Steelers would have drafted a quarterback last year after signing those two dudes, and then
Yeah,
you're
and
like,
once again, it would have
wait a
been like, well, what the fuck are we doing then?
yeah,
Then what are we
like,
doing?
if you don't have, if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks.
Yeah, that is the old. I think it's the old saying. I don't remember who said it, but I know it's been around for huh.
If you have four quarterbacks, you might as well have been on the Titanic
You might as well been
and
on the
not made it to Ellis
Titanic.
Island.
Now, with stupid. So the Falcons traded up with the Los Angeles Rams and got James Pierce, who was second in the league, second in college last year in sacks, out of Tennessee. I love the player. Atlanta has no idea what they're doing. They have
Yeah.
no idea. If Atlanta was a stock, it's plummeting by the minute. They gave up. Okay, hold on. The Falcons got back the 26th pick, which is first round pick.
Yeah.
The Rams third round pick, 101st overall, 101st overall. The Rams got Atlanta's 2025 pick, second round pick, 46. A 7th round pick this year is what it is, and then your first round pick next year. It's the Jags thing. You're
Yeah,
giving up future assets for a young GM that doesn't know your team,
right.
and it's
You gotta. That's how, Detroit was for years. We didn't have an identity. Like it was like, okay, like we have Stafford who sucks, and we have like Kelvin Johnson, and we have a lot of weapons. We have good offense. We have no defense. We have no offensive line. Like it was like every year they tried to do something different, and it
mm,
seems like that's what Atlanta's doing. Is like, okay, last year we're gonna pick Penix, but we're not gonna have him start. With the sixth overall pick or whatever the hell he was, top 10.
yeah, we're gonna
Um,
draft Penix when we just gave Kirk 180 million or however much it was.
Right. And so we're gonna sign him for possibly 4 years because I think they had an opt out after 2 or something
Yeah,
for Kurt.
and they gave
And
Kirk a
then
no trade clause.
right, and we're gonna pick a quarterback. This year we're like, okay, we have these weapons on offense. We could be, high power. Maybe we could get somebody to protect our new young quarterback. No, we're gonna go. I mean, I agree with going defensive line if you're gonna go defense, but like
So
to
they
give
picked
that
up,
up,
so they picked up Jalen Walker and now James Pierce. So you have Jalen Walker, who's one of the more Swiss Army knife players in the draft, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And now you have James Pierce on the edge, in which Atlanta was second worst in the NFL last year in sacks. So once again, I think Atlanta they had two really good picks, but you gave up so much for this one. It kind of like, yes, you're getting a third round back, but you're giving up your second 44th, which is 44th overall, next year's first, which first round picks are like the creme of the creme, so like
yeah.
people don't want to give those up. And for a player that he was very productive in college, I think he's going to be a really good NFL D end or edge rusher. It just giving up next year's first, in which once again they could be another 7-9 and have a
Yeah.
top half pick like they did this past year, and now it's going to the
Being
Rams.
8-9. They play another game now. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know where you've been the last couple years, but they
Uh,
play another game,
oh yeah. My bad, man. What the fuck am I
which
even
should be
doing
your.
with my life, man?
Dude, why are you even on the show? Why are we even talking about football if you don't even know that there's fucking 17 games in a season?
They're about to be 18, so I better get my shit straight
Come on,
now.
dude. Come on. Um,
um, you got it, yeah. You go next pick.
Baltimore, I see picked a safety with Malachi Stark.
Guess where he's from?
Georgia, dude. You can't
I
go wrong.
fucking was so pissed when they took him. He was one of the few players that Kirby Smart recruited and started as a freshman. And he
Yeah.
was his whole career in college. And he, once again, value pick. It's a classic Baltimore pick. Oh, of course Malachi Starks falls to, Baltimore at 27. You know why?
Yep.
Because it's
Because it's Baltimore.
because it's Baltimore. Philly, who we're gonna get to in a couple picks, same thing. Of course, they get who they got because they fell right to them.
Well, Baltimore. I mean, hey, man. Baltimore used to be Cleveland, so
Yeah,
would you rather?
they also used to be Indy. They used to be the Baltimore Colts too.
I know,
Yeah.
but like but they came from this Baltimore Ravens team came from the old Cleveland Browns. Like
I don't.
I'd rather not have plastic surgery to look pretty. Like I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I-
your Detroit.
You got to think about your origins.
Your Detroit Lions made a solid pick. D tackle out of Ohio State.
Dude, I hear this dude's a big motherfucker.
6'3", 330.
Ohio State dude. I wanted an edge rusher to go along with Aiden.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since we didn't re-sign Zadarius Smith for some reason.
I think you said I think you also said the other day too that he's just hanging around Detroit.
He is. He's like been going to the Pistons game with some like Detroit rapper, like some chick. Like I don't know if they're dating or what, but he's been seen, and just hanging around. Maybe like just being like, "Please sign me back."
Yeah.
I'm still here. Please, I
Just
don't
hanging
know.
out.
But I don't know why they're not re-signing him. He was productive when he was here, especially if they match him with Aiden. Maybe maybe there's salary cap things that they have to figure out before they
Mhm.
reach out to him. I don't know. But I'm surprised that they went with a D tackle with the emergence of McNeil in the middle for Detroit. He was having an amazing season last year until he got hurt. I mean, he was one of 75 guys that got hurt from the Lions last year. Um,
Right.
so and we still won 15 games, but took a
Mhm.
giant shit in the playoffs. But I like the pick. I'm glad that they went defensive line. I was hoping that they would go defensive line or offensive line because our offensive line, as somewhat elite as it is getting older, and we need to. I think we lost the dude from one of the guards, Zeitler. I think he's no longer a Lion.
Yeah.
We signed. I think he was a 1 year deal from Minnesota or wherever he came from. But I would have liked to go on the other side of the ball with the offensive line, but unless you were getting an edge rusher. But if this dude can clog the middle, and if he can take a double team, or if McNeil can take a double team, or if any of the combination of the two guys can clog up three guys on their offensive line,
Works for
Aiden's going to
you.
be the defensive player of the year. And
It,
he's going to make the comeback play of the year. I'm telling you right now, put your money on Aiden Hutchinson to win those two things.
yeah.
If he's eligible for the comeback, because the motherfucker had like 7.5 sacks in like 5 games.
It was ridiculous. With the I was gonna say it also goes back to the point you made about the Steelers pick. Just because it's on the defensive line, it's helping your best player. Now,
Yeah.
Granted, unless you think the Lions' best player is Penei Sewell, which either or, you're not really wrong with either because they're
He
both.
caught a first down pass, man. I don't know if you saw that. He caught a first down pass and dove, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I think it was the ice the game.
It was.
The Washington Commanders, for
Fuck
surprise,
them, dude.
huh?
Fuck them.
For
Let's just skip the Commanders.
for
We don't talk about teams that eliminate your team from the playoffs. That's a rule. Who eliminated the Pittsburgh Steelers from the playoffs?
Baltimore.
We shouldn't have talked about them.
Oh God, we shouldn't have talked about the Ratbirds. The Washington Commanders took Josh Cornerly Jr. out of Oregon, offensive tackle. Once again, you get your quarterback, you protect him. It's what the Patriots did, 4th overall. Really big size, 6'5", 311, out of Oregon, was one of the premier tackles all season long. The Buffalo Bills. Maxwell Harrison, DB, well, cornerback specifically, out of Kentucky. Really nice, solid player, position of need. He's on the average height-wise, 5'11" for a DB. Solid in the running game, ran a 4.28. So and they've needed help in the secondary for years since they drafted.
Yeah, they had a player
Kyrie.
die on the field, and then have him come back. I would have probably drafted a DB as well after that.
He got a pick last year.
I know. Yeah. I know. He was the first guy in NFL history to die and get an interception after.
Wow, would you look at that?
That's is
that breaking news?
I don't think it's breaking because it happened a while ago, but and I think it was Joe Burrow that threw the pick because I think he was the one that they were saying that he is the only one that threw a pick to a guy that died.
That's funny.
But
continue. I'm sorry.
I'm actually kind of now that you say that they needed help in the secondary, that makes sense. But I'm actually I'm wondering if they're going to be going out to get some more receiver help. I feel like they need
They picked up Josh Palmer in free agency. So there's a slot receiver guy. You have Keon Coleman that you took in the first round last year. And once again, if you have Josh Allen, it's damn near it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because when you have a top 5 quarterback, it kind of doesn't matter. Can he put the ball more on them than off them? But it's now one of the goofier trades, which I love when trades do stupid shit like this. So the Eagles traded up. The Eagles traded up one pick. They gave up a 5th round pick from the Lions through the Browns this year to trade up one pick to take Jahad Campbell out of Alabama. I am gobsmacked that he fell this far. He can damn near play every position on the field outside of cornerback. He's big. He's fast. He's sideline to sideline speed. His anticipation in the running game is awesome. He's a thumper, and of course he fell to the Eagles.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the rich seem to get richer, especially
right.
on defensive side of the ball, man.
I saw a picture before.
Again,
Real quick, I saw a picture before we went live. It was like players drafted to the Eagles from Alabama and Georgia, and it was like 18 guys. It was ridiculous.
I was about to say that. You know, just like I mentioned Georgia earlier, that's what I would do. I mean, these two teams, there's a reason why. I mean, coaching's part of it, but there's a reason why these two teams are always in the playoff picture in college, always in the national championship picture. How do you think they got there? It's not just coaching, it's the fucking talent. Like, that's, if I was a NFL GM, at least on the defensive side of the ball, because these guys seem to always be faster, quicker, bigger, stronger, whatever the fucking case may be. Football fucking gods. Dude, draft your defense from Georgia and Alabama.
Now,
offensive side of the field, if you want your offensive linemen, go with them too. But if you want your skill players, then you can kind of look outside of those two schools. And even those two schools have fucking amazing talent. Look, that fucking 17-year-old Williams kid last year for Bama, not even being able to buy a pack of cigarettes in most places.
Ryan Williams,
tearing up the fucking place. But, you get your skill positions. You can find that anywhere. Your beef and your fucking defense, go to the SEC, man. It's NFL light down there. They're fucking cranking these kids out like they're fucking Barbie dolls in a fucking factory. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Like,
yeah, it's nuts.
It's unbelievable. It's like going to the NXT Performance Center, dude. Like, just pick out your fucking dudes and be like, all right, you're going. Like, Jesus Christ, man.
Now, one of the knockbacks, especially when Nick Saban was still at Alabama, one of the knocks on Nick Saban players is that, has Nick Saban already maximized their talent? So they might not get much better, but they're still damn good right now.
Right.
That's just a slight knockback. I love the pick, and for Philly too, yeah.
With what you just said with the Nick Saban thing, that's not on Nick Saban. That's on the fucking NFL coaches. You have to develop the talent. You have to, have them live up to your potential. It's the coaches after him that need to do the job. If Nick Saban got them to this point, most dudes, you shouldn't have a fucking ceiling like that if you're that athletic and gifted and talented and, have the work ethic to put it in.
Yeah.
That's another factor. I mean, obviously you're not going to pick a guy from Alabama or Georgia who, has a piss poor attitude like, we're witnessing fucking Shador, not in the first round because that's all I've been hearing about is his attitude and his interview was so bad that he's egotistical. He thinks he's already the shit. Dude, you're not your dad, man, and it's a different time. Like when your dad was saying this shit, saying that Detroit ain't gonna be able to draft me, or whatever. I'm going 1 or 2.
Yeah, it was New York.
Yeah.
It
was New.
I'm sorry. Continue.
But no, I mean, back then there was no social media, so now even your interview, not everyone saw that. I mean, I'm sure NFL GMs and all that shit stuff, but Dion can fucking back it up. His son, don't know, man. Like,
it's gonna be
to have such an ego. You saw you didn't go in the first round. Are you gonna go in the second? Are you gonna be the next quarterback to be taken, or is it gonna be Jalen Milroe or somebody else? Because are you gonna want to deal with a prima donna at quarterback? You get your prima donnas in receivers all the time. You look at Terrell Owens, Chad Johnson, the list goes on and on. You don't deal with that with a quarterback. A quarterback's got to be a leader. They can't be a fucking drama king.
With the Shador thing, but real quick to wrap up the first round, the Kansas City Chiefs took Josh Simmons, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Position of need. Now he is coming off a what was it? I think it was a patella tendon injury.
Sure, we'll go with that.
It was a Yeah, He tore his patellar tendon in his left knee, which ended his season prematurely last year.
You got to obviously protect Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's needs to be as protected as the president. Like just
Yeah.
nothing can happen to him, man. If he goes
Big,
down,
strong, can protect his blind side.
yeah.
He's
And
awesome.
you always see Mahomes by the end of the year limping. So
Yeah.
it's almost
With
every season he's limping by the end of the year.
yeah, and if it's not noticeable, it's it's feeling it.
Right.
Now
But
with
speaking
the
of Shador, I mean, I think we talked about this
a little bit.
prior to the show, a little bit. I mean, who does he drop to? Does he? I got him going to the Raiders maybe at 37.
Hmm.
I don't think Cleveland's gonna take him with their 2 picks. I don't think they should. But he's a very Vegas guy. Like, I mean,
Him and Brady have a relationship.
yeah, I mean, it would fit. But if he doesn't go to Vegas, I mean, and Cleveland, maybe New Orleans at 40. Who else could he go to? Maybe the Jets. I doubt he would go the Jets though.
They just signed Justin Fields, so no.
I mean,
It's
he
tough, dude.
significantly drops, man. And again, if his interview, you know, was a little bit better and he was more accepting and more of a team guy, he probably would have went where, Jackson Dart went, or where to the Steelers. Like, Mike Tomlin ain't gonna pull up with that shit.
For
It's
the past 3 weeks, it was Mike Tomlin loves Shador, and now at least from a fandom perspective, now you see, oh, don't believe all the shit that's going out, because you
right.
heard for weeks Mike Tomlin loves
Yeah.
Shador, and
Yeah.
it's going to be also really interesting because once again, I'm sure there's going to be trades during day 2 because day 2 starts tonight at 7. It's going to be interesting who moves around because the Steelers, they don't have a second round pick with the DK Metcalf trade, but
Yeah.
if they fall in love with somebody, I could see them potentially throwing future day 2 picks to try and get back in it and try and take quarterback if they fall in love with somebody.
Right. So, out of the first round, who do you think who's this, who like we have Shador falling, we have Will Johnson not being picked, we have the dude from Marshall, I think Mike Green,
Yeah.
something like that. Was there any other guys that you were expected to go in the first round that didn't?
Not really. Cause like my thing for Will Johnson, he's so damn good. However, he missed most of last year with a turf toe injury, so there's slight hesitancy with a injury. Mike Green was more. It hit whenever he gets drafted, it'll be production based because he led the
Yeah.
league and he led college football last year. I keep saying led the league. He led the country last year in sacks at 6'3", which once again that's not anything small. But
Right.
for your your prototype edge guys, they're 6'4.5", 6'5". They're just bigger dudes.
Yeah.
And once again, maybe he just some players they just have a knack for getting to the quarterback. Like he's Von Miller size now. I'm not saying he's going to be Von Miller, but
Right.
sometimes it doesn't matter height, weight, whatever. If you just do your job, get to the quarterback, catch the ball,
Do the easy things. Um
literally.
But yeah, man, that kind of wraps up round 1.
Yeah.
You said round 2's tonight. Is round 3 tonight too, or is it just round 2?
Round 2 and 3 are tonight. It'll go from like 7 till like 10.
Yeah, and then tomorrow is the rest.
Yeah, it's
Um,
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
well, that kind of wraps up our
Yeah.
show. Check us out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Mhm.
Thank you for joining us today. We 7:30 Eastern AM. 7:30 AM Eastern time. I should, yeah,
Eastern
whatever.
Standard Time. Yeah.
Check out the 64-Bit Legends podcast everywhere you can get your podcast. We recorded our latest episode last night. I'm not sure, it's either going to drop today or Monday. But you can find all of our newest episodes on newleafnews.network. Lawson's been putting his mock drafts up, his betting articles. I covered a lot of the WrestleMania stuff. We have new content daily. We have a great team over there. Check us out on all social media, obviously on YouTube where you're watching us now, Instagram, X, Facebook. Subscribe, like, interact with us. It's awesome when you do. Check me out at Bobby Caboose on X and Instagram. At Lawson one
Underscore
two two
126.
six
Yeah.
or whatever your
1220.
number is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I think that was
Yeah.
what 12/26/08 was your
Fuck you,
birthday.
buddy.
So, if anything happened previous to 2008, Lawson doesn't know about it.
I don't know nothing about
Again,
Cardell Stewart, man.
if he reaches out and asks, make sure you tell him that we killed the Y2K bug and saved the world.
Thanks.
And you can, if you want, you can make up something about 9/11 because he doesn't know what it is. But anyway, if Lawson, if you want to take us out, man.
As always, thank you so much for you done?
I said I'm done.
For New Leaf News, I'm Lawson Turner, and for technology purposes, make sure I'm pointing the right way. That's Bobby Caboose, and thank you so much once again for watching, and we hope you enjoy your Friday and your weekend, and we will be back Monday morning as always. Thank you so much for watching. We will